When a stressful question is asked in a meeting, the human nervous system reacts instantly. Neurological pathways trigger a physical response, like a tightened grip, fractions of a second before the brain even forms a verbal answer. Popular advice tells you to watch the room closely, monitoring every shifting shoulder and subtle micro-expression to truly understand what people are thinking. But try running through your slide deck, answering a complex question, and simultaneously analyzing the eye movements of 5 different people. Your brain hits a wall. The cognitive load is simply too high to process it all at once. Effective analysis requires viewing nonverbal data as an economy of attention. With finite cognitive limits, success depends on what you choose to ignore. To evaluate which behaviors are actually worth noticing, we have to weigh 2 things against each other: observation cost and signal value. Observation cost is the literal amount of mental energy and sustained focus it takes to monitor a specific physical cue while you are trying to participate in the meeting. Signal value is the honesty of that cue. It measures how reliable the physical information is and whether it gives you an actual strategic advantage. This quadrant chart maps these 2 factors together. We are plotting the mental drain, the cost to observe, against the tactical payoff or strategic value of noticing the movement. By isolating the cues that live in that high-value, low-cost quadrant, you avoid cognitive overload. You gain an immediate read on the room without sacrificing your own performance. Let's start with the most pervasive myth in the boardroom: the assumption that crossed arms definitively means someone is angry or opposed to your idea. In reality, folding your arms is a physical mechanism for self-protection. It is often a biological reflex used to regulate internal discomfort when someone feels slightly out of their depth or simply cold. Let's look at this scorecard. Glancing at a torso takes a quick scan, meaning the cognitive effort to spot crossed arms requires minimal bandwidth, but the meaning is highly unreliable. That single gesture could indicate fatigue, temperature, or anxiety, risking misinterpretation. If you see a colleague cross their arms and you instantly assume they hate your proposal, you might adopt a defensive tone, creating friction where none actually existed. When you spot that posture, do not react with a counterargument. Just pause, deploy an open-ended question, and let them verbally explain their position. Reacting defensively to highly visible but deeply unreliable signals destroys your leverage and derails productive meeting dynamics. Now compare that vague torso movement to facial mechanics. A polite, rehearsed smile usually stops at the lips. A genuine smile of agreement physically engages the ocular muscles around the eyes. When someone is concealing internal stress, their body needs a release valve. That subconscious physical release frequently takes the form of rapid eyelid movement. Catching those rapid blinks or noticing a lack of true eye engagement holds immense strategic value. It allows you to detect concealed friction before verbal objections are ever raised. Bringing back our scorecard, tracking tiny blink rates during a conversation requires intense focus and extremely high mental bandwidth. There is also a serious social risk. Staring intensely to count blinks makes the observer appear unnerving or aggressive. Facial intelligence is highly accurate, but the cognitive and social tax means only specific people in a meeting can afford the mental drain required to track it. If faces are too taxing and arms are too vague, we have to examine macro-level mechanics. When someone leans back to create physical distance from a speaker, it exposes baseline disinterest. Evolutionarily, the feet are our primary tools for movement and survival, making them the most honest indicators of intent. Because the brain's motor cortex prepares for travel long before the mouth says goodbye, the feet subconsciously point toward the true destination, even the exit. Updating our scorecard, assessing general room posture takes a split-second scan, so bandwidth is incredibly low. Because people rarely police their lower body, it provides raw, unfiltered data. The primary bottleneck is environmental. Feet are frequently obscured by heavy conference tables or tight camera framing. If the physical layout allows for visibility, lower body mechanics serve as the optimal data source for any participant in the room. Your tracking strategy should not be random. It must be dictated strictly by the immediate role you are playing in the meeting. Take the junior presenter. If you are actively delivering material and managing slides, your cognitive load is already maxed out. This decision tree breaks down the paths. The presenter must systematically divest from tracking complex facial microexpressions. You do not have the processing power to decode blinks while speaking. Instead, allocate your minimal remaining attention strictly to macro posture and visible foot direction. Sacrificing emotional nuance protects your ability to speak flawlessly, while ensuring you catch critical room-wide disengagement. Now look at the lead negotiator. They know their material effortlessly, aren't running the deck, and are actively searching the room for hidden objections. The negotiator should bypass obvious posture checks. With a surplus of mental bandwidth, they can dedicate their focus directly to the face. They need to verify client buy-in by hunting for fast blinking and genuine eye engagement. Detecting false agreement or concealed friction in real time allows a leader to pivot the conversation before a bad deal is finalized. Professional politeness is specifically designed to mask true intent. That makes nonverbal data the only reliable metric of what people actually think. Mastering nonverbal intelligence requires a ruthless allocation of focus. By matching your observation strategy to your specific role, you transform the room's silent cues into a decisive tactical advantage.